everyone, I want to just share a quick video for you guys. I'll put a link to where you can purchase this deck to print yourself. This is a deck that if I've been really enjoying Erin Rowan Laurie's book, Ogham, Weaving Word Wisdom. And in this book, she works with the Celtic understanding of land, sea, and sky. And this is something that is very, you see a lot in the understanding of Celtic mentality and or spirituality. Things are in three, so they're not necessarily paying as much attention to the four elements. This is much more about understanding the earth that your feet are on, the ocean that you can sail upon, and the sky above as well. And so in all of her descriptions of each of the fids, she gives it an idea or gives a meaning. So she has a general meaning, but then she also looks at that meaning from those three. Now she calls them the celestial current she has for the sky. She has the oceanic current for the sea or the ocean, and then her one she calls the chthonic current for the land or the physicality of things. And so she looks at each of the fids through those three levels. Now what she's done is also to create a deck for herself where there are three of each of the fids. So she has a gray tone version, which is for the oceanic. She has green for the land, and then she has blue for the sky. So each of the fids are repeated 3 times in this deck, and then she has these backgrounds. Now these for me are a bit large of cards, but I'm going to cut them out large size. I think they could very easily be cut around this thin. You can see from the back, I think you could cut them and still retain a little bit of the color around it, but I'm going to first cut it out as intended and work with them there. So it was $10 to purchase the deck, and then it cost me, because I didn't choose to do it at home because I did want a little bit of a thicker cardstock. I still might laminate these so they'll be even thicker, but I ended up having these printed front and back at Office Max, and I think it ended up, because I got the highest I could get was 110 cardstock. It has a nice finish on it, so I printed this out, or had it printed out on 110 pound cardstock, and then obviously I will be cutting it out and corner rounding it. Now she has you cut along the gray lines, which would leave a white border around the whole deck. Obviously, if you know me, that's not really how I'm going to do this. Now I do have a cutter, so I should really probably use that for this. I don't know if these are going to exactly line up though, and that's going to be the problem. Nope, they do not. So if I cut directly to these cards, which is how I want to end up with things, it's going to leave, I think, a white border on the back. Let's see what happens. Not a full white border. The bottom part doesn't quite line up. So I think what I'll do is, cut to the front, because that's important to me, and then go in and sort of fix the back. So hopefully that's not going to end up with a wide variety of, but see what I'm saying is I think I would probably actually prefer to cut like maybe this and just have these skinny cards around here. The only thing is that, so like say for ocean, we have green as the internal color, which is going to look like land. We have red, which is something totally different, I guess. At least there's 3 different colors. So I could just say to myself, okay, this is ocean, or I can do the opposite, right? I could, you know, change the colors up. So my thinking is that I'll probably end up trimming these down to this part on the back, and having a skinnier card. I need to think about that for a minute, because I just don't see any reason to have this large of a card. So I'm thinking I might print one off on paper. I might print one off on paper, and then the problem is that I think that if I don't cut right up to this, that, which is taking all the color off, that I'm not going to get a, you know, they're not going to be exactly the same. Now let's just play a little bit, because I could always, if I mess this one up, I can always just reprint that one page. I would just like to leave some of the actual color. Actually, I don't think I'm going to leave that at all. So I'm just looking to how close I can get it, but then obviously wanting it to be even, which doesn't look. So let's check the other side. If I maybe cut to the very edge of that, I just want to make sure that I leave some of this gray, and then some of the green and some of the blue. Let's just try this. Let's just be adventurous, right? Of course, it's not an issue with this first one. The issue is with subsequent ones, so that they end up the same. Now, I would probably use the smallest corner rounder. Let's try this way. So I'm gonna again go right to the edge of the knot work. Actually, it might be easier this way. I can see that knot works better. Now, I think this is going to be a slightly different size because of the way I cut the other one. But I'm going to try to they're pretty close, so let me look here. Of course, these two, because I kind of hand did part of it, I think are going to be a little off, but they're pretty close. So that gives me bone and saw. Again, this is just cardstock, right? So you can definitely feel it. So now I'm thinking this way is, this way is easiest because I can see the edge, although then I still have to do it this way. So I know I'm taking off, obviously, all of the pretty knotwork on the sides, but again, I find those to be really large to use for an Ogham reading. And at least, I'll see, now that's where I have to watch. So, yeah, so the back, so when I do the bottoms, I think I'll just flip it over and cut to the backs, if that makes sense. So, and again, I've got the file for this, so it's not like I can't reprint, but if I decide I want the whole thing, what I'm trying to at least accomplish is that I have a little bit of that gray to tell me ocean, green and blue ocean. So they're pretty close. And again, I can edge them, but this is just cardstock. I'm thinking I'll need to stick this all onto some paper, some contact paper if I want to make it thicker. So let's do a different color. Let's do the blue and see if we're going to be able to. So again, I am just going to do it to the edge of the knotwork. The easier edge of the knotwork. That leaves the brighter blue. I think we'll be able to tell the difference. So again, I'm kind of looking at the top and the bottom edge of the knotwork. So what this does, so the reason I picked this deck up is because obviously I can just take one, right? I can take, so on these I'm going to go to the back because of the issue from before. So I'm going to go to the back and cut it just enough. And because this, you can either just take one of the sets and have just a straight up kind of plain Ogham without trees associated, without anything associated to it. So either way, it looks like I'm going to have to do like a slight fixing just to get it exact. That one took actually quite a lot of the bottom off, which makes these actually quite different size. So these are probably not going to be perfect, but I'm okay with that. Anyways, my point being that, what is my point? My point is, you can either just take a set of these, whatever color you particularly like, and just have a set that has no associations, no trees, nothing on it. It's just a nice set of Oghams. Or you can use all three, and if you're really enjoying her, I'm going to do it from this side. It seems to be better, and then I will adjust to the back side. You can either, again, or if you want, if you're enjoying her book, or if you want to read to the the land and the sea and the sky. You can pull the fids, and you will have an opportunity to actually receive a fid more than once. But then it will be in relation to, is it speaking about the emotions? Is it speaking about physicality? Is it speaking about spirituality and transformation? And so it adds, in a sense, suits to the fids. And so I think that is really cool way to read. Again, I have a set of Ogham staves that have nothing really associated. Obviously it's made out of a tree, but there's nothing visually associated to anything that I can use. So these I would probably keep as you know, a set like this. So that was one of the ocean, or yeah, no, that was one of the skies. So let's take a look at one of these, and I think that it's going to be quite obvious that they're three, you know, obviously that they're three different ones, just by the letters themselves. The fids themselves are being different colors, but I think that we're still seeing enough of that outer edge that is okay. So oh wait, see, I almost just cut it out instead of looking to the knotwork. I'll go ahead and finish this side, and I'm not going to do all of these on video, obviously, but oops, let's just catch some things on fire, people. I think this is a great way to get, again, a suit system that's very in alignment with Celtic thinking into an Ogham reading. So I've decided to cut for the front and then go back and fix the backs. That's how I'm going to proceed. There are definitely some variations, so it's not going to be perfect, but life is not perfect. So then I'll turn it over and see where I need to trim just enough, which I should probably do with the slider bar. Just enough. Going around it small. Yeah, so you can definitely tell. You've got the grays are the hardest to see, but you can definitely see the gray, the green, and the blue. And again, as you get used to working with them, you'll know from the colors of the fids as well. And there's reasons for the colors that she has chosen. So I'm gonna go ahead and then what I'll do is obviously edge these in their color as well, and so then that will highlight it on the side and kind of emphasize that also. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing these, and then I will come back and show you, let's see if I can go back and just do this way. Oh, no. Yeah, and that one's fine. So I'll come back after I've got all of these cut out and show you how what I'm going to edge it with, and then show you how a reading with these layers added in is going to work. So I'll be back. Okay, so I have done two sets, one gray, one green. So this is for ocean and this is for land, sea and land. And I'm almost done with sky. But in case anybody else ends up wanting to do this, I just wanted to give a little heads up here. If you're trimming it this much, like some people will obviously keep the beautiful knotwork, because obviously the knotwork is lovely. I just don't personally want that large of an Ogham card. But that's just me. So what I ended up finding to be the best is to use the trimmer for the sides. But it was actually faster to just, now I have no issues cutting with scissors. And this is a very small cut, so I think most people would be perfectly fine. But it was much faster to just use scissors to make the cut. Then I turn it over and see if I need to trim a little bit of white off. So that seemed to be the fastest, most efficient way to trim this down. And these will not ever be perfectly even on the sides, but I'm okay with that. Then I count corn around it again, the smallest size, which I believe is a 3mm on this. And the Katamaro Pro is my most favorite corn rounder. I think it has a 3, a 5, and I believe the largest is the 8. I mostly use the 5, but for this little tiny deck, I thought the 3 would suit it better. This is just a Fisker's trimmer. I mostly trim decks with scissors, but of course I'm not usually taking a full page of cards either. I'm usually trimming, right, a deck that already is cut out. It just has borders that I don't want. So I don't generally use a slider. I know people do. For me, it kind of leaves a ridge that I don't like so all that much. I'm just kind of looking to see if there's anything I want to clean up a little bit. You can obviously recut it, but then make sure you remember to go back and kind of clean up the corner. So that's the last of the trimming mess. And then I'm just using like Tombow markers. This is La Plume actually. I just had some La Plume. And going around and sort of finishing the edges. Again, this is just paper, so there's nothing really fabulous about this, but it does, you know, again, sort of solidify the blue border, kind of highlights it a little bit and takes that kind of cut paper look away. So it's just like one step that's going to finish it. Now for the gray, I didn't actually have a medium gray because I'd given a lot of my Tombows to my daughter for her bullet journal. And so I only had a lighter gray that I used for highlighting. So those I did end up having to go around multiple times just to get it a little bit darker. It's still lighter than I might have wanted, but it's a little bit darker. But the bright green and the bright blue on this just plain paper goes fine. I don't generally do more than one pass when I do cards, because at some point I know I'm probably going to refresh it, and I don't know, I've never had any issue with it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these up and then come back with a clear table and kind of show you how you might use this and why you might want this. Okay, so I have all three done. I don't know if you can tell, but these are sort of gray-sided. The land is green-sided. Of course, I see where I want to trim that again better, but I'm resisting the urge right now. And then I have blue for the sky. So, of course, you could just, if you're learning the Oghams, and again, you just don't want to have any other associations with them as you learn other associations than trees, you could just take one of these sets and, you know, use this for your deck. These are already fairly mixed up. Whoops. Got stuff I'm going to drop all over the place. So you could just, you know, use these as your Ogham set and have one, and yellow, and sol, and go ahead and do your, you know, your readings with again, no connotations or layers on other than the suits here. But if you're using just one, that's not going to come into play. So it's a nice way to just practice without any, whoops, did you see me do it? Did you see me do it? I might have been off. So that's one way to use this. But again, I have a set that doesn't, it's got trees on it, but again, the image doesn't have anything on it. So, you know, I don't really need a set like that. But what's fun is that we can, I don't know if I'm going to be able to riffle shuffle these. These are cardstock, right? 110 cardstock. You can get a little shuffle. You can get a shuffle. I'm going to get 3 in because that's, for me, my number. 2, 3 in. And then you can side shuffle them pretty easily. Well, I can. I do have longer hands. So you certainly could, even in the skinny state, give them a good side shuffle. Or you can go this way. I think I'm going to still give them a couple more ripples because I do want them to be mixed in really well. I should probably give them a real solid floor shuffle and swirl them about. That's certainly the best way. But for now, I'm gonna just do a couple more of these. See, when I see, like I just saw a patch of blue, I'm just going to kind of break those up. Again, the way that I pull 3, which I'm often doing 3-card readings with Ogams, it doesn't matter as much. But I'll pull some of those greens out of there. So you can just go ahead and shuffle as you would, again, however you wish. And these will obviously get more and more in as they get shuffled. But there you can see a mix of ocean or sea and land and air. And then you can pull 3. So I pull 1 from here, and 1 from the bottom, and I get all green. But that tells me that I'm going to pay attention to these in the physical world, right? So I'm paying attention to these in the world of physical. And then you can also, again, if you want to you know, have the positions, you can have land, or I do it, land and sea and air here. And so you have the fact that you've got physicality in all 3 of those, or chthonic as Aaron Rowan Laurie talks about here, but the fact that you have this sense of physicality and rootedness and groundedness of land where your feet are standing on in all these 3 areas really can supply an extra degree of meaning that says you really need to root and ground all areas of life, right? So how that comes up can be really, really helpful. Let's just see if we can get a mix here. Again, the way I pull, it shouldn't really matter. So green, green. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Apparently I personally need a lot of grounding. So, but let's just fake it so you can see. So let's say we did pull this and this and this even, right? We've got an understanding here. We still have obviously Nin, and we have Chin. This is what happens. This is what happens when you know, rhyme, right? Nin and Chin. Nin and Chinna. And a call. But these are in the land of air, which is spirituality and transformation, those kinds of things. So that's going to give an extra way to look at those. And in the realm of air, we have an air. We have that figure in its air element, or not element, but its air realm. And in the realm of sea or ocean or water, of emotions, we still have that transformative spiritual energy of the realm of air. And then in the land of land, in the realm of land, we have an iteration of Nin that is focused in land. So that's going to add extra meaning to this. It's like having the court system, right? You have a repeated a page, a knight, a queen, and a king of their 4 elements. Well, if you're doing a 4 element spread and you have that element in its element, it gives some extra oomph to that particular thing. So this is a way of exploring the triple nature of FIDs. So a FID is a letter of the Ogham, and so this deck provides a way to explore it. I mean, it also provides a way for, let's see if I can force it to happen here. Oh, let's see if I can force it. Oh, here. So here, if we have Nin and Gort, this is in ocean and this is in land. So we would look at Gort from those realms instead of looking at just Gort once. We have it showing up twice. So if Gort is about happiness and growth and these types of energies there, and we have happiness and growth, but it is in the realm of emotions, but it's showing up here in land form. So again, that idea of physicality and being present and rooted and grounded in happiness in our emotions. So it adds an extra layer. Again, I'm just doing this obviously quick, how you might do this. And in the realm of air, which is spirituality and transformation, we have that happiness coming too, but it's coming through the emotions. So it's almost as if, okay, get this rooted and grounded, and that's going to move upward into the realm of transformation and spirituality. So it gives an opportunity to have more than one, just like in tarot. You could get 3 threes, right? And that tells us something. So to have this allows for there to be repeats with a focus on the 3 realms of land, water, or sea, the land, sea, and air. And so that is exciting for me because I'm really enjoying this particular book and the way that she talks about each one in those various realms. And so this is a great, if this is a book that interests you, I would say this is worth the $10. It's $10 to download. If you print it from home, obviously it's going to cost you the ink and the paper, or if you're going to take it somewhere and print it, it's going to cost you the cost of the printing. So it's a little, for me, this is a pricey deck for paper, right? Because it was $10 to buy the PDF, and then it was $15 to put it on 110 cardstock. So that's a $25 paper deck. But and I probably could have made this myself and sat down, but then that's time. So how valuable is your time? If you have the time to do it, then maybe make up your own, find the images and all that kind of stuff and make your own. But for me, it was worth it to just have it to be able to work with. And again, at some point, I think I will probably laminate this so that it will be a little bit sturdier and hold up over time. So I will put a link to the book, which if you're interested in Oghams, I really do recommend this. If you're interested in Celtic Reconstructionism, so Celtic spirituality and from a Reconstructionist, which is the only way that you can practice Celtic spirituality. And so if that is something that interests you, I do recommend the book. I've read it multiple times at this point. And not that I agree with every single thing in here, but I do really love this book. And then I will put a link to where you can purchase this PDF for this if something like this interests you. So there you go. Hope that helps in some way, and I will talk to you later.